First of all, I want to thank my fellow martial artists. I got a lot of compliments for the Silim-Tao and the Tum-Kyu series. The methods for our BUG series is going to be focused on the common denominator of BUG, in essence, the principles. Because as I have the opportunity to travel to learn and investigate the human system, there are almost many different interpretations of human system. Okay, almost every expression is based on the teacher's background, his character and his experiences. So rather than looking at, well, what are the styles out there, the different interpretation, we're going to focus on the essence, which is the principle of the BUG system. Let's discuss about really what BUG means. In Cantonese, BUG, Bu means to thrust. Ji means finger. So you have what it means, thrusting fingers. But in essence, it means be able to generate the explosive power to the extremity. Could be the fingers, could be the palm, could be the fist, could be the forearm, could be the elbow. Because if you tie back to the beginning of the Wing-Chun system, Silim-Tao will give you the proper body mechanics, proper position, proper structure. Then Tum-Kyu teach you how to move, the footwork, the kicks, but more importantly, is be able to generate the momentum, okay, going forward, turning, and so forth. But more importantly now, BUG is be able to combine Silim-Tao and Tum-Kyu, be able to generate power in an explosive manner. Also, is be able to go to the impact, which is the contact surface. That is the extremity, okay? Not necessarily always have to be the finger. So, BUG, thrusting finger. Sequence is not the most important because Wing-Chun is always system. Every part has its own body of knowledge, okay? Even through my experience, some well-known Yip-Man teachers, grandmaster from different family of Yip-Man students, they teach, for example, some would teach the Fa Sao first, then the Gan Zam Sao, and the other family would teach the Gan Zam Sao first and then the Fa Sao. So we don't want to gain an argument and say, well, which one is right and wrong. It's what the essence behind it is, not the sequence, it's the principles. Now that we're going to go into the concept and the details of each section. I'd like to introduce my assistant. It's a familiar guy you already know. Okay, my student Jeremy Roark. He's also instructor in the Yip-Man system, certified under the senior certification of the Wing-Chun Athletic Association in Hong Kong. Okay, Jeremy? Wing-Chun form is like a textbook. It's really the responsibility of the Sifu, the instructor, to unlock that knowledge and pass on to the future generations. So the way we're going to explain the form is, number one, we're going to show you the technique that is new at this level. Number two, we're going to show you the proper position and the structures. And then also explain the attributes, such as the explosive power I mentioned about the build. And last is applications. Jeremy is going to demonstrate one section at a time. Then I'm going to use this opportunity to explain the step 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, proper techniques, proper position and structures, attributes, and applications. Now let's look at the opening. We have two new techniques. Okay. Now, as you see, the opening we call first movement is called kauma. Can you demonstrate that again? Very good. Now you can see this movement. It's a footwork that travels from the right to the center or from the left to the center. Footwork is very important. Okay, we have an upper gate that can be covered by his hands. Well, what about the lower gate? So what we teach you is that when you travel forward, your feet have to cover the center line. Okay, could be a simple step or for advance, or it could be somebody kicking you. Your feet have to travel to the center. One way to use this, okay, is not only teach you how to step, okay, from here to here, but also allow you to be able to come back to the Ichi-Kamyoma. Remember, Ichi-Kamyoma in Shou-Dao is mother of all stances. One more time from the side view. Now, it's important to recognize that this is not something new. In essence, by the time he's finished, he's actually doing Ichi-Kamyoma from Shou-Dao. Okay, the center of gravity is sink slightly, but the center is maintained. 50-50 weight. He's not leaning forward. He's not leaning backwards. Okay, so this is like mother of all stances again. I'm going to demonstrate two applications for this opening. Okay, for example, there's a saying: every kick is a step. Every step is a kick. For example, if I advance forward and punch Jeremy, okay, you see what happens? Okay, I'm worrying about my upper gate, but my lower gate, the center, totally exposed. So that's why as we step forward, okay, my center line has to be protected. So this teaches the proper covering of the lower gate center line. Now, second application is actually when your legs travel forward, you need to recover. Okay, as you can see, one more time, watch the way I approach Jeremy. Okay, as I step forward, I always finish with the foundation, which is Ichi-Kamyoma. Okay, if I push my foot right here and stop, now if he's a grappler, he would take my legs right underneath, right there. So this, I would not have a stable balance. It's very narrow. Okay, so the main focus is as you advance forward, you transfer your legs to the center and back out again. Okay. Now, second application is actually on the way back. It is a sweep. For example, if Jeremy comes in, okay, as you can see, Kaoma, it's teach you how to protect your center going forward, as well as sweep on the way back. Next sequence, we're going to be looking at the punch and the Biuji. Okay, again, the opening. Okay, as we already demonstrated, the purpose of the Kaoma. Now this right here, he's using full body, the energy of the thumb kill to throw a vertical punch. Right side. Okay, same thing on the right side. Okay, after the punch, always follow with the Biuji techniques. Now, the form contains the Biuji, but actually there's a distinction between what is Biuji and Biusao. For example, Biusao is already introduced. Jeremy, can you demonstrate Biusao in the sitting top form? Okay, this part, you notice the finger is not bent. Okay, this part is called Biusao. How about Biusao from Chamkyu? Okay, as you can see, Biusao technique in essence focus on the forearm. For example, if Jeremy were to throw a hook punch, this would be a Biusao. Okay, so what is the difference between Biuji? Now remember, Biuji is thrusting fingers. Okay, we're going to be able to transfer the power to the extremities. So in essence, we can use the finger to strike against some sensitive area, pressure point. For example, if I'm going to use my fingers, okay, the finger has to be locked. But more importantly, the wrists have to be straight and locked. Meaning, when I strike, this position is locked and strong. So as I'm coming down to the pressure point here, or going up my wrist, or going across, okay, this gives a sense of structure. That's why as we are using the finger to strike, the structure of the wrist is locked. That's the key point. And also, once you have this locking energy, you can also use it for the explosiveness, the whipping energy. Okay? For us to use my forearm, I can also use my wrist for additional power. Okay, if you watch the Biusao again, okay, my block actually is a strike to his arm. This whipping energy allows me to do that. Okay, from here I can again locking my wrist and come down to the pressure points. Next sequence, focus on the Wing-Chun elbows. Just like Biusao, elbows are actually introduced already in Chamkyu form. Jeremy, can you show us where the elbow has been introduced at the Chamkyu form? Right. As you can see, the elbow strike is what we call horizontal elbow. Biuji elbow actually contains 3 separate techniques. One is called Guai Zhang, one is called Cup Zhang, one is called Pai Zhang. Guai Zhang, Guai means to nail. Now this elbow is both horizontal and vertical. Okay, what it is really a diagonal elbow. Now important things to realize, elbow is a short range technique. Okay, so even though we know elbow is very devastating, very powerful, but if you throw it outside of the range, you're actually not going to be able to develop its potential. Now if Jeremy throws the elbow way out here, okay, he's going to eat my punches on the way in. Okay, so elbow is a short range techniques. The proper elbow is to be able to strike with the surface of the front part, the back part. Now let's look at this diagonal elbow, okay? Elbow is short range, okay? When you're short range, you're going to have a little bit difficult in generate power. So the proper mechanics of this elbow is to focus aiming on this, we call it the shoulder line. And then the rest of your body going to take it to the center line. Okay, this is details, it's important. Okay, now if you watch me, if I aim my elbow to the center without using the body, basically you have no power. But if I'm going to bring my elbow to the center and use my body, most of the time I'm already passing. So that's why the proper execution of this elbow is actually coming from the we call shoulder line, and then the rest of the body carried through. Okay, so my elbow actually from the elbow, shoulder line, boom, to center line. Okay, so it's important to recognize, demonstrate, go ahead and put your elbows up again, down. So this actually is the shoulder line, but the hip is going to actually carry to its self-center line. So this is the proper mechanics. Okay, because you want the devastation of the elbow, which is come from a hip. Jeremy is going to do it one more time and do a slow pace this time. Again, okay? He's actually aiming towards his shoulder, but by turning his hip, his elbow actually is going to go towards the center. The next motion. Okay, very good. Now this sequence not only introduced the elbow technique, okay, but now we're getting into one major concept that is new in Biu-Ji. It's called Gao Gap Sao. Gao Gap Sao in Wing-Chun is meaning emergency hands. Because in a real self-defense or combat situation, not everything is going to go your way. Okay, most simple thing is most difficult thing. Okay, this is Gao Gap Sao is to be able to help you recover. Okay, for example, Xilim teach you how to occupy your center. Okay, Tom Q give you the mobility, be able to change the center. But now what if you start out with a bad center? For example, if for whatever reason I punch and he popped my elbow and try to pin my hands, okay, I have no arm to punch. Okay, so how do I recover? This ability to recover. Okay, so this is a new element in the Biu-Ji, which is what we call emergency hands. The elbow follow with the hands right underneath and builds out. Again, this is more recovery. Every time my hand's out there, he pop. My hands jam, I recover. Pop. As you can see, this allows me to be able to quickly recover and regain my center. I'm back to the structure I wanted. The next sequence of elbow is all what we call cup zang, means pressing elbow. Now this is a little bit different. Wing-Chun being a defensive art, okay, sometimes you have to have options. Okay, for example, if somehow for whatever reason he get hold of my hand, okay, a lot of time let's say, well, I can kick him, I can punch him, but when somebody get hold of your hand, when I make a move, maybe he's already pulling me off balance when I start kicking him. Okay, so every time people put a hand on you, this becomes a primary threat. So how can we take care of it? Well, number one, you can make him let go. Okay, number two, you can control him back. Okay, now this is called pressing because you actually are pressing using your elbow to press him. Okay, called Kam-Na techniques. Of course, you can go straight to the elbow strike. So the options is on your side. Okay? So second sequence of elbow is called pressing elbow, and actually it's more of a control technique. Again. Okay, almost the exact sequence of the form. Okay? Now for me to control him, I can continue on. Okay? So this is cup down. Let's look at the sequence in the form. A lot of students ask me, how come you do 3 elbows and then now you do a single elbow? Because in essence, it's 2 different elbows. First set is guaizang, diagonal elbow. So this single elbow is actually pressing cup zang. Jeremy, would you demonstrate this time? Slow down. As you can see, this elbow is coming straight up and down. It's pressing motion. And same thing, builds out, recovery. Now we get to the third sequence of elbow, is we call Pai Zang. Okay? Pai Zang is actually already taught in the Tam Q. The difference here, as you can see, is coming horizontally, where the first one, guaizang, is diagonal. Second elbow, the pressing elbow, kapzang, is vertical. Okay, this one is come straight from diagonal. Let's examine one elbow at a time. Paizang first. Now, this is exactly what we call arm destruction. Okay, he gave me the arm. Okay, now I can continue on with more elbows. Okay, So elbows, target-wise, the limbs and the head will be one of the primary target. Because why? Sometimes, let's say if I'm really close, where I'm trying to horizontal elbow his chest, what if he's coming in at that point? Basically, he jammed my hand. Now, if I elbow his face, when he comes in, it's still going to hurt him. So it's important that we recognize the arm and the head, the face area would be primary target for the elbows. Okay? Now, the horizontal elbow will not always just hit the front, because the rotation here to here, what you see in the Tongkyu, as well in the Biuji, could be from all angles. Could be from a side angle, could be from a back angle. Okay? So as you can see, Wing-Chun is always based on concept. You don't follow the sequence exactly. Okay? You have the horizontal, you have the diagonal, up. You have also the Chengzang from the Tongkyu. Chengzang could be straight behind. So that's why Wing-Chun elbow is really give you a sense of how to recover yourself in a multi-dimensional angle. Right and left, up and down, diagonal. So all 8 directions. I'd like Jeremy to demonstrate the whole sequence of the elbows. Okay, first set is diagonal, which is the guaizang, meaning kneeling elbows. The second sequence is pressing. Okay, it's more of a control technique. The last sequence is horizontal elbow. Okay. We only demonstrate one side. In practice, you do both sides. Now, if you watch the last sequence of elbow, actually contain a palm strike technique. Now we'll go into the explanation of those palm strike. Let's look at this sequence. The Gao Gap Sao principle, again, if he totally took my facing away, I can use Biu Sao, Gao Gap Sao. Now this open up for Lap Sao. So from here, my target could be upper gate, or my target could be his middle gate. Okay? So the sequence is there for you to use. The technique is not new because the Lap Sao, the palm strike is already introduced. Okay? So the system allows you to be able to understand that ultimately you have to understand that Wing-Chun distance is here. Okay, from elbow to palm strike is either on the outer gate or the inner gate. This is important where you simultaneously be able to use it. If he gives you something extended, your elbow's right there. Okay, your palm strike's right there. So in essence, we never have to overextend ourselves. Okay, now this sequence concludes the elbow series. A lot of different Wing-Chun family, they only practice one elbow, which is diagonal. Now, according to what Grandmaster Yip-Jun told me, that in the early days, Grandmaster Yip-Jun decided to focus on the, we'll call the guaizang, the diagonal elbow, because it's more devastating and it's harder to train the body because you have to really whip the hip and come in diagonally. So later on, as he passed on the methods, a lot of students only taught that way. Okay, so actually there are 3 different types of elbow: guaizang, kapzang, and paizang. Gan zang sao is our next sequence, means scissor hand. Okay, gan sao. Basically, it's a technique that protects your upper gate. Gan sao, low. Again, it's a technique that protects your middle gate. Basically, they're the same technique. One is high, one is middle. So you have basically simultaneously be able to cover your gates. Seems kind of short, okay, but the ability to use 2 hands, it's a trademark of Wing-Chun. This concept is already introduced in Zilum Tao. But what is essence is be able to simultaneously be able to cover your gates and throwing offense and defense. Let's say Jeremy throw me a punch. Now you can see slow motion again. What I just did basically is cover my upper gate because this is where I attack, and then open him up for my own strike. Okay. Now this part not only protect myself and counter. Okay. How's it feel from your side?
I can't stop the hit. As my punch comes out, I'm being redirected and I'm still extending my punch, so I'm walking my face into your punch.
Right, exactly. The energy is basically allowing him to come in, but basically I don't stop him. Okay, he's the aggressor, he's going to walk into my punch. That's really a shout-in idea, because we don't fight, we basically are picking up his distortion, his aggression to attack me. So if you watch this one more time, guns out, higher gate, guns out, middle gate, punch. Now regular speed, now if his intention is really going to hurt me, he's going to have forward energy coming in. So what that allowed me to do is to suck him in. Okay, this elbow is right there. Okay, so ganzamzao is very useful too. Okay, allow you to quickly cover your gates. Okay, because he could be punching my chest. I still got it. Okay, so this allow me to be able to, now if he attack me in the middle gate, okay, again, two hand work is when simultaneous. Okay, now the motion follows, which comes back to a paksao. Okay, now if he's also a good fighter with a Wing-Chun skill or some other internal style that have good sensitivity on the hands, he could be running as I'm blocking. Okay, he runs across. Okay, the paksao is there, or lower gate as I'm coming in and he runs. Okay, this allows me to recover. Again, the recovery concept is a new concept in Biuji, which is the emergency side. Okay, as you can see, the combination is there for you to use. Okay, but it's important to understand the concept. Okay, again, ability to use your art. Okay, one of them is be able to change and adapt. Okay, would you let's watch that again. If he runs his hand after he punch, okay, you see the pot is right there. Same thing with the lower gate. Okay, now this motion here is be able to protect the gates. Okay, I want to emphasize again the concept of Gao Gap Sao. Okay, Wing-Chun, we focus on the space, what's in front of us, because in essence we cannot go chase after his attack, because if he really are fast, you know, if I try to always like block after his hand, so I'm gonna miss, and I'm always gonna be passive in that sense. So in a situation you're not sure or you got caught off surprise, I could be looking and you suddenly a punch comes. Okay, see, I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I know it's coming from this direction. So in this case, this is for upper gate, this is for middle gate. So in that sense, we practice both hands cover our sense of the space in front of us. Okay, from there, okay, Jeremy punch. Once we have contact, then he's mine, because the skill of Chi Sao takes over. Next sequence is called Man Sao, but sometimes we call it Fa Sao. Okay, why do we call it Man Sao? Okay, for example, let me show you the application first. If I'm standing here and suddenly again coming from an angle from the side, okay, that I'm not properly facing, okay, I'm not sure what's out there, but I see something coming up to my upper gate. Okay, first of all, again, just allow me to go out and find out what it is. That's why we call Man Sao. Okay. Fa Sao express really the energy of it. Okay, you cannot just kind of go out there and touch someone. Okay, so you have to really cover your gate in the quickest way. Okay, coming from this side. If the energy is quick, that's why the Fa Sao express explosiveness. Okay, so you could be middle gate again, or it could be upper gate. Okay, now. You also see in the last sequence, you see the techniques come back with Pak Sao. Next sequence, the technique is coming back with the Zang Sao, means to chop. So what is the quickest way you recover the center coming back? Is coming back with the attack. So again, watch this sequence. If he throw me a side attack from my flank, okay, Fa Sao take care of the first attack. What about that hand? Okay, so you can see this quickly recover your center. Now let's watch that slow one more time. Fa sao, man sao, gan sao. So ability to quickly recover from a bad facing situation into a way, bad situation, good situation. Now I'm squaring up, I have the inside line. Okay? So again, the idea of quickly recover your center. Now the quickest way to come back is chop. Jerry, would you demonstrate the sequel at regular speed? Man sao or fa sao, gan sao or zam sao. Now this is hyun sao, pak sao, hyun sao, pak sao. When you are exchanging skill, defending yourself with opponents, his live opponents, he punches, I intercept, then I'm going into my counterattack, he's not going to stay there, boom. Okay, again, how do you adjust the changing situation in real situations? Okay, so we have always kind of have a backup in the sense that we always be able to cover our space. Okay, so as he comes in, if he give me a lot of energy, then this hyun will take care of his energy. Hyun sao, it's a very good technique against strong energy coming in. Okay, be able to redirect. Now you can see it's from outside, I can go inside. Okay. Inside, I can go outside. Okay, so hyun sao is ability to be able to use inside to outside or outside to inside. Let's look at the recovery concept of hyun and pak again. Okay, so as you can see, pak sao is there against in case he's already there. Okay, I cannot successfully go outside, then I'm going to be able to recover again. Okay, now again, I'm getting my superior position back. Okay, next sequence is biu sao. Okay, again you can see the power source from the body. Okay, the emergency concept because his hands is right underneath his elbow. Now this motion, we call it ging sao. Basically, it looks like a tan sao, but it's modified in the sense that you are using the wrist power. Okay, because the prior movement is biu sao that goes out to the outer gate. This technique comes back to the inner gate. Okay. Now you notice, looks like he's striking off to the side, but in essence, he's recovering his center. Okay, so if he turns his body back, his hand's still on his center. Again, it's recovering your center line. Okay. Do one more time slow, then I'm going to show you the applications. Again, come back with the man sao. Okay. Biu sao is one of the techniques that you utilize right at the beginning of the Wing-Chun system. You see in Sinim Tao, you see in Tamkyu. Okay? It's primarily a technique that you can use for interception, for straight line attack or curved line attack. For example, biu sao could be used for the outer gate. Okay, you see I like to maintain my distance, keep it safe. Second way, we could use biu sao to intercept. Okay, again watch. Okay, you see what I mean by intercept. He never had a chance to finish his punch. Let's watch again, okay, for direction of the attack. Now, biu sao could be used against a straight line attack. Very effective against jab. Now, if he opens up for a curve, that's a mistake that he made, so I'm going to try to take advantage of that. Then I can actually apply the interception. As you can see, because he opened up, okay, this allowed me to go in and cut his technique short, allow me to do biu da simultaneously. Let's look at it again, this time from crossing side. Again, he gave me a straight, I intercepted. But suddenly, attack comes from blind side. There is no need for me to do anything because this one already covered the short range attack and basically his whole center is opened up. Okay, so you can see the biu to ging sao. Basically, again, it's a technique that allows you to cover your space in the most efficient way. This sequence is term Q lap sao. Okay, let's do one more time. This is what we call long bridge. and he's actually lob. Okay? Coming to the side. Now this is also introduced a new technique. Okay, we call it Gyeong-Choi. Okay? If you look at my hand, what it looks like is it's kind of look like a ginger. That's what Gyeong means. It's ginger. Okay? It's actually that we are using the knuckle to strike. So most of the time, this type of special punch is for unique target. What is Turnkey Lap-Sao? Now let's look at its Lap-Sao perspective. In the other series, you already understand the Lap. Okay? Again, Lap is not to hold on to it. It's something is very explosive, very quick. Allow you to really have an explosive snapping technique. Okay, for example, let's say Jerry throw me a punch. Okay, this is Lap, ability to quickly jerk his head. Okay, now Lap does not always limit it to just the hands. Again, let's say if he punched me again. Okay, I could be lopping his head, arm simultaneously. Okay, so the difference between a lob is when I lob is because I have the position to strike him. Okay, he's right there. Okay, now turn kill position again. It gives you a little bit elements of maintaining safe. How to recover? Okay, I want to be able to maintain my space as well as be able to control him. Let's say he suddenly throw me a punch. Okay, I want to be able to right away be able to control his arm. Okay. Now you watch the form, lob and go to side because you cannot get leverage from here to here. Okay, so you have to be able to again apply the sitting towel facing. Okay, so I could be using fat sao, lob, or I could be using the pure sao sequence, lob. Okay, lob again is a control technique. What you do afterwards is either follow with a strike. Or it's a control technique. Now let's say from this sequence, if we look at the technique after the lob, it's what we call Gyeong-Choi. Okay, the motion is important to understand first. It's really what we call an elbow up position. Okay, so when we do a straight technique, elbows down. When we do a curved technique, elbows up. So watch one more time. Okay, I quickly lob. Okay, now I can use Gyeong-Choi. Okay, against a sensitive area, okay? But the motion again, okay, my hands from here to here, I want to be able to use that body energy, okay, as a strike. But it also depends on what is his position, okay? Now, again, if he really follow through, we have to control here, this really opens up, it's this right here. Okay, it's really a takedown. So, again, the concept is be able to understand the motion of the body mechanics. Okay, not necessarily you always follow a sequence. Could be a takedown or could be a pressure point strike. Now we are doing the last sequence. Okay, this actually sequence has a unique name. It's called Sam Bai Fat. 3 bows of the Buddha. Okay. The technique itself looked like a bow. Okay, that's probably where its name's coming from. But more important, we know that Wing-Chun is a shouting system. Okay, this actually shows the roots of the system. Okay, 1 bow, 2, and 3. Now this is kind of unique. Okay, first of all, let's analyze the technique first. The first motion is what we call double hand Wu Sao, but in essence, this is not something new. It's a Wu Sao techniques. Okay, Wu Sao means guarding hand. Okay, but what's unique is that his body is called Bai Yin. Bai Yin means your structure or your shape is being broken. Okay, because again, in a situation you could be attacked where you cut off guard, and you already be in a situation where you could be already in a situation like this. Okay, his body is already broken the center line, which means he don't have the proper center line facing of the stadium tower anymore. So what would he do? Recover first, because it's disadvantage to fight from those weak positions. Okay. Now, why 3 times? We're going to explain about the scenario. Okay. For example, let's say we use the last sequence, so you can relate back to the form. Okay. I punch him. He's going to apply a long bridge Lap-Sao on me. Okay. Now, this is not in a good position. Okay. Now, if that hands or any attack comes over, the most important thing is for me to recover. Okay. So whenever I'm down, I don't want to be coming up like this. I'm wide open. Okay, so this tissue, the Wu Sao, is there to protect your gate. Okay, so idea is not to, okay, I'm going to fight from here. Your idea is to, from this bad position, recover. But how are you going to recover? You need to recover your gates. The Wu Sao goes up. So on your way up, it's important to protect your upper gate. So how about down? Okay, the motion from here to here, the structure is the same. Okay, now, again, if I got Jeremy in a situation here, this would be the challenge for him. Okay, his structure is broken, and now would be a good time for me to use my finishing move. Okay, so if I'm in that situation, okay, the foot could be outside of me or could be inside of me. So if he kicked me with this side, okay, you gotta be able to, again, my hand has to be there. Okay, so as you can see, same thing from this side. And this motion basically protects your boundary. If he really devastating and try to throw me a knee attack, okay. Now, how's that feel?
Not pleasant, sir.
Okay, so in other sense, it quickly give me a way to protect myself. Now that's from inside position. Now whatever reason I'm here, if my hands is on the outside, so I have two hands. Okay, if this foot comes, kicks me, right? This motion here teach you how to protect from if your hands is on the outside. Okay, if my hands here, protection inside. So again, important thing is to recover. Okay, because you're not going to stay down there. If you go from here, I quickly come back up. That was two of the bows. Okay, one is protect yourself going up, and then two is protect yourself going down. Okay, now this is the third scenario. What happened is suddenly I've been attacked from the back. Okay, so if I want to turn, oh, you see the scenario is that, well, Wing-Chun is like you can't fight from a back position. You got to recover. Again, the same motion, okay, will help you to recover in a different scenario, okay? Same thing. You see this motion here. If now I have a chance. If that hand comes, it really hits in a way that is advantage to me. Now I can counterattack. Okay, let's try to show you the third bow from a different angle. Again, suddenly I'm being attacked from behind. Okay, for me to recover, number one, I need to again. So now I'm already bowing, okay? But again, my hand has to be up there. Now I'm back to my ceiling top, okay? Now I'm back to my ceiling top. Okay, or it could be simply from the side, suddenly I do a build up, this hand comes around. Okay, so now I have a situation again to my advantage. Biu-Chi form contains a lot of applications. The focus is not on its, well, here's the sequence, here's how you defend yourself. It's really the concept. So, what is the concept? The central theme in this form is be able to recover yourself when you're in bad situations. Okay, because when my facing is off, when my balance is off, that is not a time to fight. It's kind of teach you a logic we call tactics. Okay, called Gao Gap Sao. The second most important aspect of Biu-Chi is be able to take the ceiling tile structure and the mobility and the ability to generate power with Tam Kill into a way where you can express it explosively, called Biu-Chi, okay? Explosively to the extremity. Could be the finger, could be the forearm, could be the elbow. So in that sense, now you are ready for the applications of Wing-Chun system.